Lost in Translation is truly a marvel of modern cinema. Directed by Sofia Coppola, it has been regarded as a classic among critics and audiences alike. The story centers around the character of Bob Harris, a washed-up Hollywood movie star, overburdened with family and exhausted with what we see as conventional agedness, and Charlotte, a young college graduate lost in the turmoil of youth and stuck in the transition between her adolescence and newfound adulthood, symbolized through the distant relationship she holds with her husband, a man consumed with his pursuit of career and lost in the throes of responsibility and work. Both characters feel lost in their current mindset and are struggling to understand and manage the obstacles that face them. This feeling of confusion and aimless wandering is personified through their visiting of Japan, an equally alien place, in which every aspect of their environment is transformed into unintelligible cultural radio silence. And despite being amongst consistent obstacles, both characters find themselves and develop one another as their relationship unfolds. We first see Bob as he arrives in Tokyo, a sullen and pessimistic man. As we see how he interacts with the people and places around him, it becomes clear that he has become tired of his Hollywood lifestyle, turning away and declining the opportunities that surround him. He drifts through the first act of the film, clouded in an existential haze, struggling to find himself amongst a city void of anyone or anything he can connect with. Outside of this, he ignores family, disregarding his children and wife, connections that without leaves him alone in a city that has nothing for him. Charlotte follows a similar path, though instead of ignoring her family, she finds that her mother and husband have no time to spare, and any new people that enter her life are portrayed as vapid and soulless, consumed with a lifestyle that promotes a lack of any real human compassion or emotion. And as a result, we see Charlotte sink lower into herself throughout the first act, as empty conversations with her husband and his friends find her wanting in real human connection. It is here where our two protagonists meet, in a dusky bar overlooking the Tokyo skyline. Neither can sleep. We can observe at this moment that both characters are lost in the same way, yet still can't connect with one another fully. This is where the movie shines, as the depiction of relationships are not shown to be instantaneous, but rather through a slow transition of time. Throughout Lost in Translation, we see Charlotte and Bob develop this relationship, though work has to be put in to achieve this closeness. The moments in our lives between work and boredom. This is what embodies this film. The exploration of this unconventional, though profoundly intimate relationship is something that Lost in Translation delivers with elegance and subtlety, rarely seen in modern cinema. These elements are shown at their most potent at what could be considered one of the larger narrative turning points. Bob cheating on his wife with a singer from the bar. This act flips the tone of the film on its head and introduces to the audience something that incurs on our conceived perceptions of a character and what values he represents. This leaves us with the impression that while Bob may appear confident in his interactions, his ability to be unpredictable and impulsive, a characteristic often associated with the youthful, redefines and casts him as a far more vulnerable soul, vulnerable to desire, vulnerable to lust, and to the temptations that surround him, namely Charlotte. The final scene of the movie has become iconic in the eyes of modern cinema critics, due to it being hugely rich in emotion, but so simple in its content. On his way to the airport, Bob spots the distinctive outline of Charlotte and makes the snap decision to follow her through the crowd, standing out prominently to the colour associations we have with her orange hair. Bob embraces Charlotte, and without any dialogue, we as the audience understand what is being told to us. Here we see the raw connection Bob has with Charlotte, as a kiss shortly follows, though not without something being whispered, unheard by us. This is powerful, as this intimacy is hidden from the audience, and gives the effect of this interaction being all the more sacred. This is our closure, and concludes the movie to boot, leaving us awestruck, wondering how a piece of cinema can move us so greatly with so little.